Welcome to Basketball on Figueroa, the only podcast breaking down everything happening with the Lakers, Clippers, and Sparks. I'm your host, Edwin Garcia. Joining me today, per usual, is Dime Dropper, aka Darian Viziri. But before we ask him how he is doing, I'm going to let you know what is going down. It is the best time of the year. The sun is going down, it's nice and crispy. October baseball. Dodger baseball, World Series, Dodgers, Yankees, and tomorrow night at the time of this recording, tomorrow night will be the beginning of the NBA season. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I know the villains won last year, but the Lakers are back at it like a bad habit, looking to get banner number 19 because they have the NCAA tournament banner, and that's up there. So looking for banner 19, but title number 18 so they can avenge the Celtics and tie it up again. The battle continues. The journey continues. Going for the 18th Larry O'Brien. Meanwhile, my friend Darian Vaziri has still yet to pop his Larry O'Brien trophy. He's seen it. He's experienced it secondhand, but there's nothing like, anyway, I'm not going to get into those details. Dime, how are you doing tonight?
Getting yourself excited yet again for another average season for the Lakers. But you know what's not average? The Dodgers. World Series, baby. Are you kidding me? This is an incredible
I'm not kidding.
time. It's an incredible time, man. You know, as I mentioned in the last episode, I was in college the 2 years that we actually had proper World Series with fans here in my lifetime. So this is really special for me. Almost feels meant to be, man, that I was supposed to be here, the homer that I am, for the first World Series in my lifetime. Obviously, it would be devastating at this point if we lost because I'm so all in. And we've had so many heartbreaks in this era of Dodger baseball. Please, dear Lord, just give this one to us. Shout out to our guy Daniel Barry coming in with the super chat early in this live. Appreciate you, DB. Super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime. But Edwin, I'm doing well. Basketball season is starting. Gives us a lot more to talk about. Beginning with the Lakers tomorrow night against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Tonight, for those that are listening in the morning on Tuesday. So it's an exciting time, as you said, but it's made even more exciting by the fact that the Dodgers are in the World Series against the Yankees, the absolute pipe dream for the MLB, the best two cities in America, and hopefully we take out the other New York team, showing that we are the greatest city in America.
Yeah, we're gonna walk him down twice. You know, I put up a picture of Ohtani. He's Kendrick Lamar. You know, when he said he's king of New York from LA, he's like, I'm the king of New York. That can be Ohtani. He could be like, you know what? I went to the NL and I took over the Mets. Then I went to the World Series and I beat down the Pinstripes. What else? Who else? Who else wants it? Oh wait, there's no one left because there's no one who left to compete with. I guess that makes us the world champs. You know, so yeah, year one. Wild, you know, and you saw a Dime. There was a lot of hype when Ohtani got here, but there's a lot of people. What's the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference? This is the difference. This is the difference. You win, and you dominate, and you kill everybody. That's the difference. And if you get the title, that's it. That's the difference. Year one. Oh, wait till he starts pitching. Wait till he starts pitching. That's what he really does. Oh man, they're not ready, Dime. I told you, Dime. Back to back. If they win it this year, I know they have to still get it done, but they get it done back to back. I'm telling you right now, he's coming back. Kershaw's going to re-sign, I'm sure. Oh, man, it's going to be.
Kershaw's coming back, and then Tyler Glasnow. But as you said, it's all eyes on this year. 4 games away.
4 games away.
City's set for explosion. It's a real special time to be in Angelino. And I did have a prediction earlier on at New Year's, Edwin. I have a tweet. I haven't pulled it back up yet. I said 5 LA teams are going to make the playoffs, and 1's going to win a championship. Between the Clippers, Kings, Rams, and Lakers and Dodgers, that's the 5 playoff teams right there. Don't even have to get to MLS.
Yeah, you got the Galaxy and LAFC 1 and 2. Oh man, it's just so good being here, right? Like it's just always fun. It's just always fun. Always teams dominating, always teams killing, even when they're not as interesting.
I wouldn't say always teams killing though. For a lot of years, it was just the Lakers and everybody else was somewhat mediocre. But when we already have a lot of great things here. So when you add sports to that, it's like, come on, can't be beat at that point.
Let's not forget the Kings. They've done some good things in the years prior, you know.
Special things. And I was gonna say, but that one, the title has eluded us. But I knew that if there was gonna be a title, it was probably going to be the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So we got to get it done, man. And going into the playoffs though, with all the injuries that we had, I did not think it was championship or bust anymore necessarily. But You just got to get hot at the right time. Guys got to be clutch. And right now it's happening for us. Look at what Mookie Betts is doing, leading our team in total bases, leading our team in RBIs in the postseason. Huge. So we got plenty of days until the Dodgers, but by the next episode of Basketball and Figueroa, it will be hopefully 2-0.
Yeah.
Hopefully 2-0 Dodgers. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we'll see how that's going. But obviously, Dodger baseball's up right now, and the World Series is going to be fantastic. You know what else is fantastic? Being done with the preseason dime. You know me, I'm a basketball sicko, like my friend JJ Redick, but I like the games that count the most. So
brother,
let's go. Oh, we have not. It's gonna get real silly up in here. You have not seen how far I can fly with this team.
This is gonna be a long season.
It's going to be a long season. Yes, it is. And I just can't wait. I'm so excited because now the games count, right? Like there won't be the back half, you empty the bench and, whatever gets silly at the end. No. We're all playing to win. These games matter. These games count. You're trying to establish a winning culture and start, doing well. So we're going to kind of more talk about that. Final closing thoughts on preseason. I'll give you some Lakers ones and I want to hear anything else you want to say, Diane, about the Clippers before we jump into the full regular season kind of preview here. So for me, obviously the biggest thing, one, no extra injuries, right? Pretty much media day, we knew that Vando wasn't ready and we knew Wood wasn't ready. And now Vando and Wood are still not ready. TBD on them, but we didn't get anything else new. I'm not even going to name names, but no other rotation players or anything. Everyone else is healthy. The injury report looks the same from the first preseason game to now. And I think that's really good because as you've mentioned before, it doesn't really matter. Well, what matters could be injuries. Hey, guess what? We got some work done. People practice, couple little games, and guess what? No one's hurt. Great. I'm happy. I wish we had to get the other two players, but given what we know, that's about where things can be. So I'm like, cool. We got the rest of the roster. Let's see what we can do. Other biggest takeaway, obviously Dalton Connect looked exciting, but we'll see how he looks in actual games starting tomorrow. But Quincy, right? Quincy Olivari, that's been the story. You've seen more of it. We talked about it here when he had that moment that I'm like, hey, I know you didn't watch the game, but this little kid kind of cooked, but we'll see what happens. And then from there, he's had more moments, and then he's just gone viral, tearing up about meeting his idols. And it's an easy story to root for because we can kind of get cynical with, who wants to play, and this team's already like this, and my team has no shot. And this kind of reminds you that, hey, man, a lot of these guys are just fighting to make it, and they're on the grind, and they've spent their whole lives for these moments. And some of them, it's really flaky on if they're going to stay or what's going to happen, and to see someone who really looks like they're playing with their heart in their sleeve, giving their all, and they get rewarded with a reward. And for Quincy, that was going from an Exhibit 10 deal to a two-way contract. He took Colin Castleton's contract, essentially. They took him off, and he got the spot. So again, one person's joy is another person's misery. We'll see what happens with Colin, but it was a great story from Quincy, and everyone was kind of pulling for something like that to happen. I really wasn't sure if it was going to, because I just didn't know if they were going to make a decision like that since all the spots were taken. But Quincy got it, Dime, and Lakers fans everywhere are really happy because he just seems like a guy that's easy to root for.
Absolutely. I saw that clip of him tearing up, talking about Steph, and it was very touching. So congratulations to him. And yeah, congratulations to him. Absolutely. Anytime you get signed to an NBA team or even part of a G League team or whatever, is he on a two-way, you said?
He's in a two-way, yeah. So he'll, split his time. 50 games he can play with the Lakers and the rest with South Bay, but that's way better than what he came in with, which was an Exhibit 10 deal, which basically meant, hey, it's a training camp deal, and then if you don't get signed, you can sign for more money at South Bay, but that'll be it. So he definitely got something better than what he came in with, for sure.
Yeah. So congratulations to him. Two-way contract, any type of contract in the NBA, something to celebrate, especially for the Lakers.
Yeah, for sure. And Don, give us a little bit of a update on the last couple things on training camp / your overall thoughts now that preseason is over, kind of what that experience was like and what you kind of liked from those moments there.
From the Clippers?
Mm-hmm.
Kai Jones got that last two-way spot. We talked about, is he going to get that last two-way spot? Are we going to trade someone and get him a standard contract? He solidified that last two-way spot, and he absolutely deserved it. And with Mo Bamba out for a little bit, it looks like Kai Jones will be our backup center on opening night. And to be honest, I'm very excited for that. It's interesting. Both of the backup centers for our teams are just these raw athletes that haven't shown much else in the NBA. But in my opinion, Kai Jones hasn't gotten the same opportunity and same amount of time as Jackson Hayes. And what we've seen what we've seen in the preseason, he could be really exciting, especially first night at the Intuit Dome, a couple of dunks. You're playing against two unathletic bigs in Yusuf Nurkic and Mason Plumlee. Maybe he'll run them out the gym or outrun them down the floor, beat them down the floor in transition. We create defense to offense, get that Intuit Dome jump, and Phoenix Buns calling timeout.
Yeah, that sounds like a really nice scenario you created where it's like a 10-2 run in the first quarter. You're like, yeah, man, this is awesome. Yeah, I can see it. Okay, cool. Yeah. Again, we already know, especially with both teams, we know what the Lakers' main guys are going to be. We know the Clippers kind of, for the most part, their main guys. So kind of the margins are where it was kind of interesting in training camp and preseason this season. So, all right, cool. So we'll wrap it up there. Just a really, really quick rundown for the Lakers. They had that Thursday night game where the Lakers beat the Suns 128-122. Same night, Clippers beat the Kings 131-91. And then the Lakers had that back-to-back, which, like I told you, Dime, they really just it was one of those we have to play so we don't get fined. They benched everybody. It was like Bronny and Quincy actually out there a lot. They're just like, hey, man, we're not gonna play players on preseason back-to-back. Like, this is silly. So they benched everybody, which made sense. And I think the Warriors pretty much, they benched some of the key guys. So they were did a little bit of a mix. But it was just one of those games. I hope next year at least don't give us back-to-backs in the preseason. Come on, what are we doing? You're trying to squeeze every dollar. I get it, but I don't know. Figure out the schedule a little cleaner there. But anyway, like I said, everyone's healthy, everyone's good, and they lost the game by 50 points. I know some people will make a big deal about that, but I'm like, dude, it's preseason, and 8 of the 9 rotation guys didn't really play. So let's pump the brakes on a preseason game and caring about a result like that, especially when the main guys didn't play. But the main guys will be playing on both teams this week. We have the regular season here. So, Dime, I've done this, I think, the last 3 years. No shade to anyone else, but I see some people be like, oh, how are the Lakers going to do the first 5 games, the first 10 games? I'm like, no. I got the entire schedule. I'm putting it up here for the people watching the video. Every single game predicted, Dime. I got the whole thing here. I haven't shared it anywhere else. I've gone through this process for a couple of reasons. One, I want to see what my thoughts are early and then see how it changes. As there'll be injuries and trades and yada, yada. So it gives me a good baseline. And I think personally that if I assess the team correctly, my numbers should be close to the main number. I'm not going to get the day-to-day right. It's just way too hard. But I think the number, will probably be correct. And I think that now. So we'll see how it goes as the season progresses. Couple things before I give you the number here, and then I'm gonna want you to guess before I do that. But for those wondering, well, how do you figure this out? Pretty much, I have some general rules. One, if I think a team is better than the Lakers, I pretty much automatically give that team the W and give the Lakers the L. So teams like Boston, unfortunately, a lot of just L's. Anytime they play someone like Boston, just respect that quality versus the other quality. And whenever there's back-to-backs, I pretty much split them because I think it's very rare to win both back-to-backs. It's also very rare to lose both back-to-backs. Now, I'm sure both will eventually happen throughout the season, but I just split the difference, and I'll just lose where I lose and win where I win. I'll probably win more than I lose if I just split it. So that's what I do with that. And then when you face the same team, even if it's not back-to-back nights, just back-to-back games, I usually split those the same reason. It's hard in the NBA to lose to the same team twice, just like it's hard to beat the same team twice in the regular season. So those are the generals. And then now that we have the in-season tournament, there's those 2 games that are blank because they figure it out. Just to be nice, I gave the Lakers the wins on those 2. So that's how I decided that, since I can't predict those games. I'm like, we'll just call them 2 dubs. I could have split the difference, but I said, you know what? Let's just be optimistic. I'll give them 2 dubs and we'll work it out. So done. You know me, for the most part, to be level-headed and think with my brain, not my heart. So what do you think my number is, and what's your number without doing this whole little exercise here?
I think you have the Lakers at 46 and 36. And
Okay.
I have the Lakers, considering they were 47 and 35 last year, I'll have them at 45 and 37. And I'm only saying that not because I think they're worse, but because I don't think LeBron and AD will each play 70-plus games this year.
Okay, cool. So you got them a couple games lower, and then you have me with them at 46, right? All right, so I'm putting it up here on camera. I'm not sure if it'll show, but I'll read it anyway. 47 and 35.
Oh, one game off.
You're right. So I did the exercise. That's what I came up with. I came up with 47 and 35. So that's my full prediction. I might share this on Twitter. I'll see, because I gotta screenshot it, or if I'm gonna scan it, or go next level and just do it digitally. But yeah, 47 and 35. And yeah, that's pretty much where I have the team going. So same with you. I think the team will be better this year. I've liked what I've seen from the team a lot better. So I would not be shocked if they get to 51, 50, 50, 52 games or so. I think all they need for that is health. Both LeBron and AD to play a little bit better. And if they make some kind of trade midseason that really pumps things, I can totally see them jumping up a couple games. So you might look at this and say, well, that's not better than Darvin Ham. I'm like, well, it's a different season. A few players are older, and you have to adjust for there's going to be some growing pains. There'll probably be some times how Redick will start and how he'll progress as a coach is going to be. There's going to be just some of that going on. And the West is tough. Like, again, as you know, like, if it's fans, we think of our own team. The other team's trying to win too. So you got teams like Minnesota, Oklahoma City, and Denver, and even the Clippers and Lakers. They're not too far apart. It's going to be tough out west, as it always is. So I think 47-35 is pretty good. Hopefully, that might probably is not good enough to get out of the play-in. I hope they at least get the 6th seed. I think if they want to be, I think the only way you're safe from the play-in in the West is you're going to have to hit 50 wins. I think if you don't hit 50, it's a crapshoot. You might be in that 6 to 10 range, somewhere along there. So I think 50 wins will be key. Only way that changes is if there's a dip in health or something with some of the main teams like Minnesota and OKC, because they're also what's dangerous. Diamond. So many of the young teams are the good teams, and it's like, man, those guys, like Shea kind of just plays. It's like unless an injury bug hits, they're not pacing themselves. These are all hungry. What's dangerous about the West is you have a lot of hungry teams that haven't won that are young. So I expect the team, for example, like Memphis, to have a great regular season because Ja has had a couple seasons he hasn't played yet. They're hungry to go out there and prove it, and they're going to bring it all the time. Versus, like, I don't know, maybe in the East, the Knicks aren't as worried about that, or the Celtics aren't as worried about that. They might take their foot off the gas and lose an extra 5 games because they're focused on other things. They know what they can do, and et cetera, et cetera. In the West, it's a lot of the teams that were dominant years prior are now older, and the teams that haven't won are the young ones. So I think that's one of the reasons why that conference, besides just the talent, I think is also better. I think it's one of the reasons the regular season, you see those crazy numbers where you're like, man, we've won 5 in a row and we gained no ground, So I'm curious how it's going to go. Dime, I know you've already done a lot of coverage. You've done like kind of the whole league on your YouTube channel, and you've done a lot of stuff. Where are you at right now going in with the Clippers?
What I think the record's going to be, or what I think their seeding is going to be.
Whichever one you want to give me, we can go with that. However you want to go with it.
Before Kawhi got hurt, or I should say before I knew Kawhi was going to miss the beginning of the season, I had the Clippers at 6. So lower than we were last year, but better than people think we're going to be. But due to Kawhi not being healthy for the start of the season and possibly a little bit longer, I'm going with the Clippers 10th. And yeah, but I'll be honest with you, Edwin. If I weren't a Clipper fan, I would say the Clippers 12th or 11th.
What? No, Dime, come on.
Well,
you can't be that low on them.
It's not that I'm low on them. It's that I'm high on everybody else in the West.
The Rockets?
The Rockets are good. They have way more depth than the Clippers. They're super young. No, of course not.
Okay, well, let me go look at the teams of the West. Let me look at the Western Conference teams, and you tell me.
Edwin, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that if Kawhi was healthy, we'd definitely be out on the Rockets. But I think the only people that are picking the Clippers over the Rockets are like LA-based people. I think most NBA fans are going with Houston because the Kawhi thing is such a question mark. You know what I mean? Şengün, Van Vliet, Dylan Brooks. These guys were a very good defense last year. We could be a solid defense this year, and I think we will be. But Houston, they were what? 9th in defensive rating last year. If Jalen Green and Jabari Smith take a leap, and especially Jalen Green, he's got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, Şengün is going to be better this year, and he missed like 29 games. They're not a bad team, man. And they also got the 3rd pick in the draft. They got the 3rd pick in the draft.
How about, okay. Let me give you a couple other teams just to kind of get an idea where you're at. Okay. So how about the Jazz?
No, the Clippers going to be better than them. Even if it was just Harden the whole season, I think we'd be better than them.
So the Blazers are worse. The Jazz are worse. The Spurs?
Spurs are definitely worse, I think.
Kings?
No. The Kings have like 3-star caliber players. And they're really good in the regular season. And Sabonis didn't miss 1 game last year. I think he'll miss a couple this year, but he's been pretty durable. And so is De'Aaron Fox.
Pelicans?
I had the Pelicans low. By the way, if anybody wants to just see my full-on analysis of predictions, I have that episode as well up today. I literally did it. I'll timestamp it later, and you can find that on audio as well. But I had the Pelicans lower just because I feel like they're going to trade Brandon Ingram. They have way more top-end talent than the Clippers do. They essentially have like a big five. Their top 7 players are really good, Edwin.
Yeah.
Zion, Brandon Ingram, DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, and then you have Herb Jones, Trey Murphy. Am I forgetting someone? I don't think so.
From people I want to point out, no. I mean, these are the players on the team, but I don't think they're worth pointing out. So, I think that's kind of the core.
Yeah, it's just my bad. It's the top 6. I think there's just question marks around them because they clearly want to trade Brandon Ingram. I don't know where CJ and DeJounte fit into the equation together. If you're going to move DeJounte back to the 2, that's fine. But then are you starting Ingram, Herb Jones, and Zion at the 5, or Herb at the 5, where they're just going to switch everything? I just don't know if that's going to be a good team. So, and there's so many injury concerns, just like with the Clippers around Ingram and Zion. So I went with the Pelicans 12th, but I wouldn't blame anybody for putting the Pelicans above the Clippers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think I'm a little more optimistic on the Clippers than you are.
The Warriors are a debatable one, right? But I just think if we don't have Kawhi for a large chunk, I think it's very reasonable that the Warriors could be better than us.
I think if you don't have Kawhi for, let's say Kawhi plays less than 58 games, 55 games, you're probably right. The Warriors probably get above them, but that's only if that happens. Again, I know this stuff with Kawhi is frustrating. He might still never be. He still, when you look at how many, let me look up how many games he's played. He still plays a good chunk of games. So
Kawhi Leonard,
for the regular season, season,
he played 68 games last year.
So if he does that this year, y'all are gonna win a lot of games. Like you're gonna.
I mean, listen, Edwin. He started last season healthy. He's not starting this season healthy. He actually played opening night last year. So that was a big what?
Yes, you got 68. Obviously, he missed the season. Let me put up. He's got 68. Then he has 52. Then he missed the season before that, 21, 22. Then the right before the bubble, the post bubble was 52, 57, 60. So, I mean, if you had to guess, or maybe you don't feel like you're comfortable with that, like how many games do you feel like he's definitely going to play?
I can't even answer that question. Like,
wow.
I think he'll play at least 40. I hope at least 40.
Yeah.
But he started last season healthy.
Right.
And they didn't sit him on back-to-backs. He only load managed 1 game the whole season, and that was against the Milwaukee Bucks when it was 2 games in the span of 23 hours. Remember, we covered that on this.
Yeah.
So then that was fairly reasonable. He also, mind you, did not even play in the playoffs fully because he got overworked and they had the knee swelling and knee inflammation. So they're likely going to go back to load management. He's going to be out for, let's say, the first 4 to 5 games at least, I would think. And then if he's load managing the rest of the way, you're probably missing around 20 or 25 right there. Now you're at 57 or at 60.
Mm-hmm.
What if a real little injury happens? You know what I mean? So now we're in trouble.
Rolled ankle or something. Yeah. No, I got you. Yeah. So for that reason, and I think the Clippers are well coached. I think they have a young team. I think they have a hungry team. And I think Harden definitely is going to hey, let me just do my thing. And I think on most nights, again, for the regular season, that's going to get it done a lot of nights, I think. So I still have them in play-in territory. I do not have them going. I don't see them going down to that kind, like out of the play-in. I only see that if something happens to Harden. I think if something happens to Harden, that's way too much to overcome. You don't know what's going on with Kawhi. Harden's out for 4 to 6 weeks on a calf strain. Okay, then I'm with you. I think they will fall to like out of the top 10. But until that happens, I'm still like, hey, they might not be a title contender. They might be frustrating. You might be talking too much about injuries, but you'll still be in that top 10 range. But it's interesting because every year there's a team that goes up. Every 2 years there's a team that goes down. I know you've already done your full West breakdown, so I'm not going to ask too much. But just curious for you. For me, the Grizzlies are one of the teams that goes up. But for that to happen, a team needs to go down. So I'm guessing you're with me that the Grizzlies are in the top 10, right? So who do you think is going to take a step back this season?
Well, the Clippers.
Okay, you got the Clippers. So I don't have the Clippers. I'm thinking
how. So wait, time out. The Clippers were 4th last year, Edwin. You have us higher?
Well, I mean, they'll go down, but they won't go out. You know what I mean? Like the
Oh,
Grizzlies,
okay.
the
So that
Grizzlies getting in there doesn't mean I'm not swapping them. You know.
you're saying who's not going to make the
So,
top
so
10?
let me rephrase it. Last year, the Grizzlies did not make the top 10. They were not in the play-in, right? This year, I think they'll be somewhere in the top 10 at least, right? So that means someone has to come out, right? So who's not going to make it from last season's Western Conference?
I said the New Orleans.
Um,
I said the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's probably fair. Yeah. Okay, interesting. So we'll see. That's definitely something I'm going to be looking into. The Kings last year dropping, I did not expect, and then they did drop a bit. So and then obviously OKC took that huge leap forward. They can't really go anywhere else. A lot of questions about the Nuggets. How good are they now? How hungry are they now? How's the Russ thing going to work? So a lot of interesting things. We feel like, I know, at least that's how I feel. Like I feel like, oh, I know what's going to happen, and then around 20 games, certain teams surprise, certain teams disappoint, and we start to establish like a new kind of pecking order for stuff. So, all right, so that's where I'm at with the Lakers. That's where you're at with the Clippers. Let me see if I have any other Clipper questions. I think I'm kind of good right now. Do you feel like you're comfortable with knowing what the rotations are and kind of what the early like hierarchy is going to be, like maybe like 1 through 10, 1 through 9?
The starting lineup is going to be James Harden, Norman Powell, Terrence Mann, Derrick Jones Jr., and Zubats. Then the bench will definitely contain Kevin Porter Jr., Nicholas Batum, Kai Jones in the beginning of the season, Chris Dunn, and I think Amir Coffey as well. That will be the 10-man rotation until Kawhi's back. And then from there, we don't know.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. And then, just to give the Lakers version, obviously JJ Redick already said what his starting 5 was going to be, which is, he said, the 5 that were really good last year. So you got Rui, you got Austin Reeves, LeBron, AD, and D'Lo. That's the starting 5. And he said ideally he wants a 9-man rotation. He also mentioned when he saw, like, I think all the articles come out, he's like, hey, it's going to fluctuate sometimes. We're like, yeah, we know. So right now that's the 5. And the other 4, you got right now Jackson Hayes, Max Christie, Gabe Vincent, and Dalton Connect. So they got a rookie in that 9-man rotation. Now, again, that's without Christian Wood and Vanderbilt because they're not available. But that's what fans should expect tomorrow night. You should expect those to be the first 9 out. Technically for tomorrow, you might see Bronny squeeze in because I think they're going to want to get the father-son on the court thing done quickly and just kind of be done with it, Dime, in terms of like the hoopla, So you might technically see Bronny come in as the 9th guy, but that doesn't. I would not make that an expectation that he's in rotation. I would say, hey, that's just because they want to have the moment, and I think they just want to kind of get it out of the way and say, hey, it's done. Stop asking about it. And then when it does happen any other time, it'll be because it's happening, because it's just the way the basketball's working, and they can be done with it. I think if they don't do it like tomorrow, that becomes a question every game. What's up with Bronny? What's with Bronny? Oh, he's in the G League. When's he coming back up? Do you think, So I think they just want to say, hey, like, we get it, but like, let's just have it. Probably something my guess for the Bronny LeBron thing is opening minutes of the second quarter. They're on the court for like 2 minutes. He goes back to the bench, and then you play the game the rest of the way. But that's what I think is going to happen with the 9-man rotation to look out for, excluding Bronny. And you will see Bronny, I think, early in the first half or middle of the first half. But that's kind of where things are for the starting 5 and the rotation for the Lakers. All right. So Dime, do you want to jump into a little bit of WNBA talk before we move on to the rest of the upcoming schedule?
Let's do it.
All right. So last WNBA recap, not for a long time, because we do have the draft lottery, I believe, happening later next month. So it won't be too long, but we're going to have a lot less W talk now that 1, the season's over, and 2, it's their off season. So we'll be a little light on it. But one thing that did happen, Game 5, Dime. We got Game 5, elimination game, because we only go to 5. We'll go to 7 next year. So this won't happen next year, but what a game it was. What a series it was. The Lynx, the Liberty, back and forth. Almost every game was close except for Game 2. That's the only one that wasn't a down to the wire game. Everything else, regardless of result, came down to the final possessions, 2 overtime matchups. It was a nuts series. I mentioned it, like, I think when I wrote my article for Swoosh Appeal on Game 4, I'm like, the only reason there's going to be a winner in this series is because there literally has to be. They're pretty much even at this point. Like, if this series would be able to go to 7, I promise you it would have went to 7. Like, they're just 2 equal teams, just fire, water, it's just explosive, right? And man, game 5. I mean, it was must-see television. It was the drama. I remember so many people were like, "Oh, we won't have as much drama now that like Clark's out." And what do they talk about? I'm like, "Oh, you do not know the W like I know the W." I'm like, "We always have drama. The drama will just change from one subject to another. That's what's gonna happen." And that's what happened. And we had so many storylines here. One, let's get with the main thing. 67-62, the Liberty got it done. Like we both predicted. We both predicted the Liberty would get the ring. They got it done. It was ugly. It reminded me, I mentioned in our little group chat that it reminded me of, 2010 Lakers Celtics, where the game was kind of bad if you just wanted to watch good basketball. But the reason was because both teams wanted it so bad. It was physical. I mean, it was bad in terms of like there's just the shooting was awful. It was just like a brawl basically, and that's what I felt when I watched the Liberty Lynx. I'm like, it's just a lot of in the paint, a lot of shots, very few are going in. Like we're battling, but it's entertaining because you understand the context. Both teams, you're not giving an inch. The reason it's ugly basketball is because you're getting two teams like fighting for a pool stick on the ground. Like it's just that kind of game. So it was entertaining, even though stat wise it wasn't like an attractive form of basketball in that sense, right? So that's what I saw. A very gritty game, very tough game, very physical game. The guards were just awful on both teams, except for McBride. McBride was sensational for the Lynx, but Courtney couldn't get anything done. She was 2 for 14. Sabrina Nescu had a rough game, 1 for 19. Phoebus was 4 for 11. So the guards just really couldn't get anything done. Stewie was struggling too, 4 for 15. But near the end, even though the Lynx kind of had it, then the Liberty got the lead, and it was back and forth. We're going to talk about everything, but just to give the really quick recap, we had a final possession. The Liberty trying to score. The inbound comes in. Stewie gets the ball. She takes a shot. Foul gets called. Hits the 2 free throws to force overtime. And in overtime, Lynx just had no offense. But what everyone's talking about, free throw differential. There was a travel. Was that a foul call? They reviewed it. They still called it a foul call. And we saw a lot of bitterness. We saw a lot of anger. We saw Cheryl Reeve win post-game was like, they stole it from us. They stole it from us. A lot of drama, right? Which to me, that's just kind of how sports are. That's kind of shows that things were how high stakes were, that everything's being like, heightened. So I don't look at it as a bad thing. It's just, hey, that's how people are when a game comes down to the wire like that and something happens. I've seen LeBron, even LeBron was tweeting it wasn't fair, but I also saw LeBron complain when he didn't get a foul call when they let the players play against the Celtics, which I also thought was a foul. But hey, again, I think people are going to be mad either way. But Dime, what were your overall feelings and what were your thoughts on those final like seconds and overtime of this game?
Amazing game, incredible finals, just the most hyped up WNBA season ever, ending in fitting fashion with the greatest WNBA finals maybe ever. I mean, I haven't watched all of them, but that was incredible. As you said, 4 games down to the last possession, but even though I was rooting for the Liberty, those were some really rough calls, Edwin. And I say that to say, because I'm not a guy that likes to harp on the calls, on the officials. I'm a big control what you can control guy. But the Lynx, they locked up the entire first half. You knew the Liberty were going to make a little push, and the Lynx punched back. Fee looked like she was about to win the championship. She was taking over that game. She was getting to the rim. I mean, what a performance by her again.
Yeah.
But there were some really bad calls at the end. John Quill Jones stepped on Alana Smith's foot. That's just, to me, a no call there. Not a blocking foul. That got him the chance where Stewie went to the line for 2 free throws, missed the free throws, and they got a jump ball out of it. I'm sorry, they got an offensive rebound, missed the 3, and then got a jump ball out of it. Yeah. Then the last foul, and I love Stewie. I thought that was pretty good D by Alana Smith. And the fact that they challenged it and they still got it, I don't know, man. I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm not saying that we've never seen anything like that, because home-centric calls do exist. And if you want to go to something, go to the Liberty having home court. That's what happens when you have home court. It really does. But it was rough to watch. I felt really bad for the Lynx. I feel like they did all they could. But yeah, Courtney Williams, 2 for 14, really sticks out if you look at the box score. She had a habit this series of, at times,
hero ball a little bit,
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Just acting like she was the number 1 option at times. And her play, her guard play was, integral to their whole run. She had huge moments throughout the series and the playoffs. But I think in this particular series, she is, if you had to put the blame on one player, I think she would probably be the biggest for them, just because she was essentially the second best player in the series on the team. Maybe not based on her. Well, I'll say it like this. She probably wasn't the second best performer in the series, but throughout the playoffs, I think she was the second best player for them. Against the Connecticut
Yeah.
Sun, she put them over the top. In game one, she put them over the top. So she had a rough series, and it happens, you know what I mean? And so, something she can learn from. But what a player Fee is, arguably the best player in the world, honestly, at this point. I really would argue it.
Yeah, I think the thing was, and this is why I didn't pick the Lynx to begin with. I didn't think they would get enough consistent guard play to win this series, um, and that's what happened. And I think you're right about the hero ball. Like the it's a tricky thing because I know, like, as a person, Courtney Williams would probably be like, "What are you talking about? You told me I need to step up, and then you're telling me I'm doing too much." I'm like, you need to step up without stepping on the team's offense and the flow of it. So that's what I need from you. I need you to be efficient in your shots. If you take 10, 11, 12, you got to hit half of those. And then you need that because generally Sabrina Nescu's explosive. They got too many players out there. They got a big three that's really big that can, kind of any of them could drop 20 at any moment. So you need to step up to kind of help cancel that out. And the Lynx did a great job of slowing down Enescu and Stewie. They couldn't really get, again, Jonquil Jones just ate. She just ate. And it's not all Fee's fault or anything like that, but it's like that was their big that really was walking double, and she was pretty much, I think she only had one game that was a little bit low, and everything else she was rocking it. So it's hard to stop everything, especially with a good team, just like in the NBA, right? If you stop LeBron, AD is going to eat. Like, it's just hard to shut everything down. But that was one thing they never were able to really control Jonquil. All they could do was control Brianna and Sabrina, which is great, but just wasn't enough. And again, they didn't get enough good guard play. And yes, like you said, the fouls are a tough thing. Do I think there should have been a travel call? Of course I do. I saw the replay. The foul on the Stewie Smith one, I feel like it's 50-50. There's contact, but also there's some ball contact. Like, I think it was 50-50. So I'm kind of okay with what was called for that specific part of it, because I'm like, they called it a foul. They looked at it. I can see it both ways. And again, human error, you know how that is. That's part of how reffing works. We talk about it in soccer. It's always going to be that way unless you literally want robots to do it, and then the robot will just do what the robot does. But I think we don't want that, because at the same time, when the end of the game happens, we want it to be a little more physical. So it's just always tough. That's part of human error. And the Lynx, I know they're going to be more frustrated about the calls, but for me, just like you, I'm more of a control what you can control guy. And I'm like, you scored 2 points in overtime, man. Like, that's pretty rough. Again, they couldn't get the offense going. Now, again, you can always argue we shouldn't even have been in overtime. I'm like, it's a one possession game. You got to be careful. And they saw it happen too before, right? Like game one, that happened. They got a kind of weird call against them, and it didn't cost them the game. But then what they do, they should have did the same thing, I think, in this scenario. Don't let the refs have a chance. They let Stewie get a layup last time in game one, and she missed it. Just, guard, and when she drives, kind of back off and just, hey, I'm going to force you to make a tough runner, and I'm going to make sure I have no contact. But again, it's hard. You're trying to figure it out. You're trying to balance. You're trying to be aggressive but not get a foul call. You're up 2. Like, always remember, you're up 2. They have to execute. You're in control. If nothing happens, you win. But these things are tough to do, and hey, bad calls happen. But at the end of the day, hey, you know me, I'm still talking about that Michael Jordan push-off, but guess what? He got 6 rings. So, this happens in all sports, especially when it gets tight. There's going to be calls that we disagree on, but shout out to Liberty. They got it done. Stinks for the Lynx. They had a great season, though. No one predicted them to be this good. People were talking about if they would even make the playoffs. How bad were they going to be this year? And they proved that's the reason why Reeve is coach of the year. The reason why she's the reason they've got like all the championships they had and almost got another one. It's a stinker. Yeah, the calls were a little rough, but couldn't get it done. And both teams have a bunch of games that were all close. So there's always ways to look at how you could do better. So I'm curious to see what next year is going to look like for all these teams. Very curious to see how Unrivaled is going to look like with Fee and Brianna doing their Unrivaled basketball tournaments and talking about, hey, like the last time we played, like, we saw Fee, on Instagram being like, what a great year, and showing all the fouls that she thought were supposed to be called. So it's been interesting. It's been fun. But the Liberty, they got it done. They got their first title as a franchise, like you said, in a historic year. And looking forward to the next one for sure. And on this podcast, we'll be sticking more to the Sparks info, which right now what's going to happen is most players will take off. Some will play overseas. Some will play in AU. Some will play in Unrivaled, which are like kind of pro leagues that happen in the winter. And we'll probably the next update we'll do on the Sparks, unless something big happens, will probably be draft lottery and seeing if they get Paige. Because they get Paige, oh boy, things will get really interesting for the Sparks as well. So that'll probably be the next time we update on women's basketball.
Yeah, the Liberty, I got to give them a shout out. First title. They're not the first team in basketball history to benefit off some home-centric calls in a deciding game. So it's nothing, and if we go back and watch those finals, we'll probably find some bad calls that went against them. So, you can never feel bad, in my opinion, as a fan of the winning team or on being on the winning team. It happens. What comes around goes around. Everybody goes through it. So congrats to the Liberty fans. Nobody can take that away from them. They were the best team all year. That's why they got to host Game 5. And Sabrina Ionescu, I mean, if you look at the team stats, they shot 31% from the field and 9% from three, Edwin, and still won the game. That's a gritty, hard-nosed game, and that's getting it done with your defense. They turned up defensively in that second half. They only allowed 10 points in the third quarter. So that's how you win a championship right there. Stewie was 4 for 15, but she played amazing defense. Sabrina Ionescu 1 for 19, but she played good defense. And you talked about John Quill Jones. But how about Niara Sabally, man? She was the big
hero,
X factor in this game.
Yeah, didn't play much in the other games. She's had a limited role. She had her biggest game, her biggest moment. And yeah, like Sabally was absolutely sensational. Pulling up her stats, 17 minutes, 5 for 7 from the field. She went out and scored 13 points. It was huge. And, we talked about it all the time. Like, you need somebody to step up. And she stepped up big. She doesn't have her game. I mean, it was a close game. So they literally needed every point they could get. So Sabally stepping up really helped throughout the game, kind of just keep them in it, keep them fighting, keep them pushing until they could kind of make that run there. So no, yeah, Sabaly's definitely, she shouldn't have to pay for any dinners in New York for quite some time right now. And I'm sure Sabrina will cover that check. No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. So let's get into it. I'm so excited. We have our first night of predictions here for the upcoming games. As we mentioned, Tuesday is opening night of the NBA, and the Lakers will be kicking things off. Lakers.
Whoa! Are we gonna predict the first game of the actual NBA season? Because it's only a two game night, isn't it?
Yeah. We'll predict the. Well, do you want to do like the week basically up to Monday?
Well, let's do the big national televised games.
Okay.
Tuesday night is a 2-game night, right?
Yes. So we have a 2-game night here. Let me pull up the official schedule for it, because we have the Lakers playing on TNT, and they'll be playing at 7:00 against the Timberwolves at Crypto.com Arena. Actually, let's just start with that one. So Dime, opening night of the NBA season, Lakers kicking things off with the T-Wolves. Who's winning that game?
Well, let's just take a look. I mean, last year's opening game for the Lakers was
Nuggets.
On the road, on their ring night, and they lost. Yep. That's a tough one, though. Didn't they also lose to the Suns in the first home game?
Yes, they did.
And then in 2022-23,
why are we doing this exercise? This is not a good exercise for me. We have a lot of losses. Yeah.
So that was. Damn, you had the Warriors ring night too, huh?
Yeah, we were. We got killed that game. That game was awful. We got destroyed.
I thought the Warriors were going to be so good. And then 2021-22.
It turns out they were playing a bad Lakers team.
Yeah, so I'm going with the Wolves.
Okay, you're going with the Wolves. I also, again, with my predictions, I went with the Wolves. I think there's a chance they could sneak away. The Wolves have Julius Randle, new team, new year. Maybe they're not as sharp because of all those changes, But I think just in general, they're a better team. So I'm going to predict. And then, again, the Lakers are at home, so that might help. But I'm going with, unfortunately, I'm going to go with the T-Wolves as well winning. The other game we have a wonderful team in the New York Knicks and a horrendous, disgusting team in the Boston Celtics. They're getting their ring night. I'm going to be nauseous watching that from the – I'll be at Crypto, actually. I'll be at Crypto. I'll be in the media room throwing, bottles of water at this TV screen until they kick me out, because I'll be there, with all the Laker people kind of just snickering at those ridiculous rings and banners they'll put up there. But they'll do that, and then they're going to get their ass kicked by the Knicks. So that's my prediction. Congratulations on your ring. It's New Year. Take this L from the best team in the East. Dime, what's your prediction for Knicks Celtics starting things off?
I think it's going to be a good game. I'm interested to see Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges in their new uniforms playing for the Knicks, but I'm going to go with the Celtics winning on opening night. Banner night.
All right, fine. Yeah, teams often lose on banner night. You're kind of in your feels, and I don't know.
I'm going with the win. I mean, but Wednesday's the classic second out of the NBA season where every team plays, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So okay, fair. So we'll go with that. I'm gonna write down like we did last year. I'm gonna write down our predictions for the games. So we got them so far. We're the same on the Lakers games, and we're split on the national games. Let me go ahead here and pull up the other ones.
The Clippers are playing the Suns on Wednesday at Intuit Dome. That's the opening night. It's on ESPN.
Yeah, exactly. So here, the next one we have is, so we got Clippers, Suns, ESPN, Intuit Dome, Dime. Will you be at Intuit Dome for this one?
Wouldn't miss it for the world, Edwin. I'll be in the wall. We're going to get a great vlog. By the way, 19,000 on that preseason game.
I told
Unbelievable.
you.
An all-timer. This one, I don't know if we'll do 19,000 because it's not the first
20,
one.
20.
It's going to be amazing. It's not going to be 54 minutes. It's going to be electric. I cannot wait. The Phoenix Buns. And Edwin, what is my life in 2024 when I'm rooting for James Harden masterclass at Intuit Dome as for my Clippers to beat Phoenix? I mean, there's nothing to say about this thing life anymore, man. It's like can't script it.
Tell God your plans, He's like
going into a dome, seeing Clipper fans wearing Harden jerseys. Like it's like someone joke on me.
If you would have told 2010 Edwin sharing stupid LeBron memes on Facebook, this guy's gonna be a Laker, I'll be like, what? Get out of here. No, he's not. And I'm like, you'll see. You'll see in 14 years, buddy. Like, so that happens, right? That's what being a fan of a team is. You never know what decisions they'll make, and coaching and ownership and all of that kind of changes. So if we were both in charge of our teams, it would be very differently run than they are now. So, but you'll be there. You got Harden's the man. You'll get the little beard. Will they stand out like the beards and all that? I hope that we can get a vlog with you rocking the beard there. That'd be pretty sweet. But I'm glad you'll be there. Definitely going to be checking out that vlog as well. And I think it could, numbers are numbers. We'll see. But people are still looking for like, hey, what's that like? That's a lot of people are still going to be searching that kind of stuff. So opening night's still going to be interesting for that. So, and on the court, I think I know what you're going to say, but what's going to happen on the floor? Who wins that game?
We're going to win that game because the Intuit Dome is going to be absolutely jumping.
I'm going to go with the loss. I think that you're going to get a focused Suns, and I think the Suns will get the win. So we're split on that one. All right, cool. We'll go there. Now, Friday, we have Lakers, Suns. So they're going to stay in LA. I don't know. Staying in LA can be dangerous. Time. What happens? Lakers, Suns. Who wins that one?
I'm going with the Lakers.
Hey, what was that? Was that your Charles Barkley?
Yeah.
It was pretty good. I did predict it.
Yeah, I'm going Lakers.
All right. I'm unfortunately going to have to go with Suns because that's what I predicted. So I'm only going to go with my
You're so low on the Lakers after that nonsense opening of energy and joy.
But now it's reality, so we got to go back to that was the hype of the No, I'll only be going with my official predictions for this week. After that, I'm going to put this away, and I'm just going to go with how I feel that week. So this week, I'm just going to go strictly by the paper. After that, I'm not going to go by that. I'm going to go by the context of what's happening and how I feel. So this week, I'm just going to go straight with that. So cool. So we got that. And then, oh my God, I'm just so sick of the Nuggets. Can I just be honest? I don't like the Nuggets. I don't like anything about them. I don't like their coach. I don't like their fans. I don't like Locked On Nuggets. I don't like George Karl. I don't like the fact that their altitude's so high. I don't like their logo. I miss the old logo. I don't like how they treat Carmelo. There's just so many things about the Nuggets I can't stand. I don't like how Joker pretends he doesn't care about basketball. Like I don't like any of it. I'm just so over the Nuggets. But guess what? regardless of, I don't like how they have Russell and pretend that they're gonna figure something out that no one else has figured out, because that's how the guy is, man. Like, anyways, so we gotta talk about the Nuggets here. Who do you got? Clippers Nuggets, 2:00 on NBA TV on Saturday.
2:00 Pacific.
That's what I have. Yep.
Ugh, I'm coaching at that time. And we got the Dodgers, Clippers,
Yeah.
Nuggets. I'm gonna go with the Nuggets. It's at
All
Pepsi
right.
Center or at Ball Arena, but I always knew it as Pepsi Center. I'll take the Nuggets on that one.
Yeah, I just double checked because every now and then you ask me that, and I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. Nope, I'm not wrong. It's 2:00 East Coast time, West Coast time. So that is nuts. Okay, cool. So you got the Nuggets getting that one. So let me put that in here, and then I'm gonna agree with you. Unfortunately, I think that the Nuggets are, they're still gonna be a good team. So we'll get that with a same ruling there. All right, same night. Lakers Kings at 7:30. That's right. Big Brother's got to play later on NBA TV. Now it all makes sense. Dime, I figured it out. We
on the road.
No, they'll be home.
Okay.
So Lakers Kings. We got the Cali Classic there. Lakers Kings. Who do you got winning in Lakers Kings there?
I'm going with the Kings. They've had your number recently. Hasn't he? 80 doesn't beat Sabonis in the regular season.
Oh my God. Here we go with that crap narrative.
What was the last time he actually won? Did he win one at the end of his last season? I forget. It's been months.
You're not gonna believe this time, but player versus player is not a correlation to a team's record.
I'm just okay. Well, okay. How'd you guys do against the?
This is like that Steph Curry versus LeBron without including the fact that, because Draymond cried for Kevin Durant to help build the super team. That's what happened. But anyways,
let me ask you this.
Yes, you're right. Okay. Sabonis
Mm-hmm.
has played well against AD, and the Lakers. It's been a while since they've beaten the Kings with 8. You're right. Those numbers don't look. They overwhelmingly favor Sabonis. What I'd say is correlation, causation, all that stuff's not the same. So with that being said, I got the Lakers beating the Kings and ending this silly theory that somehow Sabonis owns them, and that's why we're losing, because Sabonis is killing it. Will Sabonis play well? Yeah, I'm sure he will. He's a good guy, but they're not beating us on Saturday night. Not when I'm in the building, and I'll be in the building. All right. After that, we have Sunday back-to-back for the Clippers. Clippers Warriors 5:30. Dime, you mentioned the Warriors, how good they're going to be. They could maybe be better than we think. I don't know. What do you think is happening? Clippers Warriors first time this year.
That one's at Chase, right?
Yes.
No Kawhi. I'm gonna go with the Warriors.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna have you down with the Warriors, and I'm gonna have to agree with you as well. I just think that the Warriors, I still don't think are gonna be great, but I still think they'll probably be better, and especially at home, I think they get the job done there. All right, cool. So we got 2 L's there for the Clippers. All right, and then final game we're going to talk about here, because we'll probably record after that the following day. We got Lakers Suns on Monday. That one's going to be in Phoenix, 7:00. Who do you got? Lakers Suns for the second time already this season, so they're going quick here.
Since I went with the Lakers in the home game, I'll go with the Suns in this home game. Sadly.
Unfortunately, I also went Suns. So I got the Lakers starting 1-3. That's not a good week. That's not a good week at all. So, all right, cool. So I got the Lakers starting 1-3. You have the Clippers starting, let's see, you got a win, a loss, a loss, a loss. You also 1-3. Look at that. How fun.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. It's Dodger season, brother. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. All right, it's Dodger season. Hopefully the Dodgers get some wins. Hopefully the Lakers and Clippers do better than the 1-3 starts we predicted. But next week we'll be here. We'll be recapping it, and then now the games count, so we'll have a lot more we can chew on. What happens? Hopefully no one gets injured on either team. Hopefully we get some more wins than we expect, and then we'll see what Ty Lue's talking about. What JJ Redick's talking about. The LeBron Bronny moment. How AD's looking. Dalton Connect 4. What's happening with that? So we'll finally get some actual games that matter and kind of see what's going on. So this is the best time of year. Everything's starting fresh, 0-0, NBA Christmas, if you will. We can just start enjoying hoops and seeing how all the teams are looking and getting some early returns on what our predictions have been this summer.
Let me just say this. If you guys want to check out my predictions on the Western Conference, that's also on the channel. My reaction to Dodgers making the World Series, raw reaction last night. And tomorrow night, first post-game live of the season, Edwin, Lakers Timberwolves right here on Dime Dropper.
Oh, heck yeah. You know what? I'll send you a picture. I'll probably watch it from inside the stadium. So yeah, I should actually mention in case people are kind of new here, because this one's, they might have took the summer off from listening to the podcast here. I'm Basketball and Figueroa. I'm the senior editor at Silver Screen and Roll. So I'll be at pretty much every Lakers home game, minus the days that I'm off. So I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be there Saturday. And I'll be there covering the team pregame, postgame, practices, shoot-arounds. And I'll be there in the Chicor Arena room, writing up whatever's happening on Lakers Timberwolves. So I'll be there. Maybe instead of putting some music on, I'll put you on Going Live, Dime. I'll send you a picture from inside the building.
Go.
So yeah, you'll be in there. I'll be listening to see what your takes are. Hopefully, you're talking about a masterclass by JJ Redick as a coach, picking the right spots, pushing the right buttons, and getting the win. Like we said, we predicted 2 L's, unfortunately. So, but we'll see what happens, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts about it then.
Yeah, and we'll see about that. And then also Celtics Knicks, I'll probably try to watch and talk about as well, because only one other game. So give them their flowers, give them their we want to talk about the new additions to teams, right? So
no, that's right. Okay, awesome. Can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great year. All right, so that's the end of episode 48 of Basketball on Figueroa. I'm Edwin Garcia. That was / is Darian Vaziri, aka Dime Dropper, and we out.